It's a quick fix.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fix the Family. My name is Raylan Alama and we are bringing you truth without compromise for the family. We've got a little quick fix for you here in August of 2019. It's been a while. Hope y'all haven't missed me too much. We're still rolling out some of the normal lecture style videos, and been a while since we've been doing these quick fixes and a little more studio type of material, but I had to take the opportunity because I had a very disturbing encounter with a young man this week, and it really speaks to the importance of doing things within marriage and preparing for marriage in the way we have been talking about for almost 10 years now. And all this is just re-explaining and holding fast to tried and true principles that have always been taught by the Catholic Church. And this was something as ordinary as having somebody come by to fix the air conditioner at my home. So I feel at liberty to be able to discuss this anonymously about this encounter that I had, because it wasn't anybody that was, under my advisement or anything like that. That type of an encounter, but somebody I was the customer of, and who asked me a question, and just kind of went from there. So as we were completing our business, the young man just asked me, says, well, he sees the religious artifacts around my office, and just says, well, y'all go to church around here? And of course he had been in my home, so I mean it's hard to miss. And I said, well, we're actually a bit old school. We go to mass at a location that's about 20-25 minutes from here, and in our part of the world in South Louisiana, we have churches, almost every 5 minutes within a town, several Catholic churches. But we go out of the way because we go to the Latin Mass, as I was explaining to him. I said, we're old school, and we choose to attend a Latin Mass. I said, how about you? He says, well, we go to this, and we are commonly known in our area, a very big non-denominational church. Those are common around the country, now. So we have one here too. And he explains that they go to this, and I said, well, are you married? He says, yeah. I said, just got married 10 months ago. I said, any kids? He says, yeah, we got one on the way. And I also have a couple of stepkids. Pay attention. Because these things details are important. So I said, well, I got a little something I'd like to share with you. Just wait right here for just a minute. And I go inside my office and get one of my books, Catholic Manhood Today. And I give it to him, and I say, it's a book written toward young men like you, mid-20s, that are just getting started out, or searching into relationships. You're in a new marriage here. It talks about being able to raise up masculine young men and the development stages that they go through. And so he says, well, does it have anything in here about parenting? I said, sure does. He says, because we have some challenges with that. I said, oh, okay, I understand. And so he goes on to explain that, remember, his wife had 2 children with another marriage. Now, in a Catholic marriage, the Catholic Church, that would be forbidden, right? Marriage is permanent. So there are no second marriages, except if the spouse dies. But if you have a spouse that's still living, it creates a lot of challenges. You have another person coming into the relationship all the time. This is not natural. This is why the church forbids it. Marriage is permanent. So he goes on to explain that she's using homeschooling. I said I actually encourage homeschooling. He says, but she's not teaching them anything. She's not doing it. So she is just pretty much letting them learn on their own and letting them go about their day as they want. And she says, no structure. And so I try to mention to her that we need to have something a little more formal, a little more structure. And she becomes very angry and loud, and she screams and hollers and calls me abusive and says I'm controlling. Pay attention. Have we heard this before? Have we heard this before? It's very disturbing what's going on in that relationship. And we get to the point where the young man is telling me, he says, I feel like I can say nothing. And this is how, I'm involved with these other children. They live in my home, even though they're not naturally mine. But how she is forcing her way to be able to raise them. And then we having one of our own, and that's how it's going to continue. And you could tell this kid, this young man, he was just dumbfounded. He just did not he did not believe the position that he's in. He looked trapped, looked like a deer in the headlights, with no hope. And I said, well, sir, you need to not in the heat of the moment, but after things have calmed down, y'all need to be able to communicate. He says, yeah, anytime I bring it up, then she starts screaming again. I said, well, that's I have a very difficult nemesis that I deal with in my work, and this work that I do called feminism, and it's rampant through our culture. And that's straight out of the feminist handbook. It's a defense mechanism. When she feels like she's being challenged or overpowered, she uses that as a way to just throw up a defense or a guard or an obstacle to anybody trying to influence or change the way she chooses to do things. This might be some bleed over from this other relationship she was in, whether it had been a marriage or the father of these other children. But you see, that couple, and I asked him this point blank, I said, was she like this before y'all were married? And he's just got this mystified look in his eye, like, no. So we need to advise our young people how to very soberly look at the relationships they are pursuing, and pursuing for what reason, and making sure that they are discussing how they're going to handle life, to day-to-day matters in family life. Not just how's our wedding going to be, or what our dreams are of where we're going to travel the world. How are you going to do the things day in and day out? How are you going to handle discipline of the children? And first and foremost, who's going to be in charge? God ordered, and the church has clearly reiterated and enforced this throughout the ages, throughout the centuries, that the man is the head of the home. How did the good Pope Pius XI say, if the man is the head, the wife is the heart? That woman in that marriage, she's not being the heart of that home. It makes for a heartless home. And they have to know clearly what the order of love, as Augustine says, what the order of love is going to be in that marriage. And it's not designed by man. It is how God ordered things. And I explained that to the young man, and I said, there's a reason for that. He says, yeah, there's a reason for it, because it works. That's what has always worked, and he knew it. And whether or not they clearly communicated that prior to the marriage, I don't know. Or if she just deceived him and just flipped it around as soon as he was committed, as soon as he made his vows. I don't know. But if those things aren't done, men can find themselves in that situation, and it was just so disturbing to me to see a man who was basically castrated, who had no power at all. It was just, and basically all his only role in that marriage now is as a provider. Now it is a primary role, but that's basically all he's able to do. He's just making the money. He's working hard working young man. Just a very strong character. But he feels when he goes into his own home, which should be his castle, he has to be silent and obedient to her and just go along with whatever she wants. That's disordered. This is demonic. It's not of God. And it was an experience to say, well, I have the opportunity to share it, to say this is what is going on when we don't follow the ways of God. And how many homes in our culture, in our neighborhoods that we live in right here, how many homes are ordered or disordered that way? Not ordered, or disordered that way. And it causes our culture, it causes our society to crumble. This is the diabolic. This is the decadence, the decay that we see. This is a dark message today, and I'm really feeling bad. I'm sorry to have to deliver this, but this is sometimes we got to do this. I like to be inspiring. I like to inspire people. But this is a call for soberness, for sobriety, for seriousness in what we are explaining and how in the formation we're giving to our own children. Very important message. I hope you take this and listen to it and think about it. Think about how things ought to be properly ordered. Think about being in that situation where you're basically hopeless, where you're powerless. It's a very difficult place for this young man to be, and my heart just went out to him. And I felt hopeless. I felt handcuffed. There's literally nothing I could say that was going to help him, except that they need to get on the same page and they need to communicate. He needs to communicate his ideas to her, which are coming from God. Hers are not. And again, I only heard one side of the story, but suppose that that's the fact pattern. It's very unhealthy. It's very disordered. So take this, think about it, pray about it. How clearly are you communicating with your own children about these matters? Your older children who are going to be going into relationships and possibly getting married. Because marriage is permanent, as the church teaches us. Should be. And if that situation there is permanent, which I'm afraid it's not going to be, that young man is in for a life of misery, which is not right, which is not good. So there it is. Again, dark message, but needs to be said, needs to be thought about, needs to be digested and pondered, in order that we can fix the ills of our society. Come back and see us. Keep watching our lecture series out on. We are filming now lecture series, book study on Man the Saint. Very good book. A very serious, courageous priest wrote on for true masculinity. And unfortunately, that young man isn't able to practice true masculinity in his own home. Very sad, but there it is. And just keep paying attention. Come back to the channel. Watch our Facebook page. We're always posting new content and sharing good things that are going to help your family out. God bless you.